So get your multiplication chart out. You weren't here the first day? No. Okay. I'll get it. All right, get that multiplication chart out. And we're going to begin. Today is all solving equations. Solving equations. It's solving linear equations. That's what the title says, because everything that we're doing today only it's all to the first power. So they're all going to be linear equations. Where? You can charge it, but you got to sit over here. So you can plug it in. I'm fine with that. But you don't need your phone while we do notes anyways. All righty. To solve equations, we're going to use inverses. So when we see addition, we need to use the inverse subtraction to undo it. When we see multiplication, we need to use division to undo it. And so that's how we're going to solve equations. And our goal is to get the variable by itself. So for the first problem, our goal is to get y equals, or y by itself. And to do that, I have to move everything else to the other side. When we do PEMDAS, we deal with like multiplication division first. When you solve equations, you typically deal with like reverse PEMDAS. You deal with addition subtraction first, and then multiplication division last. And so the first thing that we're going to do, and this is our favorite type of problem. This is a two-step equations, 2 steps to get y by itself. We're going to have to move the 4, move the 3. So what is the inverse of add 4? Subtract 4. Yeah, so we're going to bring that to the other side, and we're going to subtract 4. So I'm going to have 3y on this side, and then 19 minus 4 is 15. And then my last step, like I said, 2 steps. What's the inverse of multiply by 3? Divide by 3. So what is 15 divided by 3?
5.
Yep.
Oh.
So we're going to ease into these problems. The next one, it's the same type of steps, and this is, again, a 2-step equations. There's 2 numbers on the side with the n, and we want n equals, so we're going to have to get rid of the 3 and the 4. So like I said, we're kind of working with reverse PEMDAS. We'll take care of addition and subtraction first. So to get rid of plus 3, we will subtract 3. So I have -5 and I'm getting 3 more negative. So I'm getting more negative. I'm going to have a negative number. And so 5 and 3 is how much? -8. Yep. To get rid of divide by 4, what would I do? Multiply by 4. Very good. So n is equal to -32. Very good. Y'all are good. Yeah, so the opposite or inverse of divide is multiply. So when you guys see those fractions, don't freak out because y'all multiply better than you divide. So getting rid of divide is easy because you just multiply. Next problem. Before we can even get started, I need to combine like terms because I've got a couple different G terms. So I'm going to write CLT because we need to combine like terms first. So to combine like terms, I've got these three G terms. I usually start with the whole numbers first. So a lot of times we can do these in our head and we are not going to have a calculator. So we got to kind of get good with mental math. So I see that I've got 5 and I have 4. What's 5 plus 4? 9. And then 9 minus 7. 2. All right. Hello? I do. Sure, no problem. Thanks. Bye. Jackson, you are leaving. So 2G plus 18 equals 8. All right, two-step equation. I love two-step equations. I can do those. So we're going to have to get rid of the 18 and get rid of the 2. So what should we do first? Yeah, let's get rid of that 18. So subtract 18. What's 8 minus 18? Negative 10. So also that first quiz, no calculator, there is no shame in counting on your fingers. Do what you've got to do to get the right answer. So I know that sometimes we struggle with those negatives. And what's my last step? Divide by 2. So I get G is equal to what? Beautiful. Y'all are really good at this. Y'all must have done lots of solving last year because y'all are pretty good. Pretty good. Take a little break. It is up to you at this point. I had everybody stand up for week 1. Now it's week 2. I'm going to let you guys take ownership of your own learning. If you know you're tired, then stand up while we do a brain break. If you feel like you're good and you can sit, then sit. It's fine. But we'll play some Family Feud, and I'm working on our leaderboard. But I will jot down our score today. Oh. How do I sit down? Maybe I just. Oh my gosh. Name an animal that's easier to get off than to get onto. That's kind of interesting. Horse. Elephant. Animal. What animals do people ride? You rode on a dolphin? Oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's so awesome. I would love to ride on a dolphin. What else do people ride on? Oh, a bull maybe? Awesome. What does a dolphin feel like? It's like Did you liked it or didn't like it? Yeah, I think that is interesting. Has anybody else ridden a dolphin? No? That's kind of cool story. Round 2. Name a place where you just want to be left alone. Bathroom? Okay, at home. Movies. Job. Work. On the bus. Where do you want to be left alone? Library. I didn't even think about that. Well, I meant for us to do one round and I forgot and we did two. Oops, that's okay. All right, moving on with the problems. So this type of problem is a little bit different, and this goes along with our essential question over here. What can you do when there are variables on both sides of the equal sign? So when you have variables on both sides, you need to look and figure out which is bigger. Okay, the bigger one's going to be like a magnet and it's going to suck everything out over to it. So when I see for this problem, I have variables on both sides. Which number is bigger, 3 or 6? 6. So we're going to bring the 3 over. So the first thing that I have to do is bring this 3 over and subtract 3x. So 6 minus 3, we get 3x minus 5 equals 6. Yay! Two-step equation now. I've only got 2 numbers over by the x. Two-step equation. This is nice. So first we're going to do what? Yep, add 5. 6 and 5 makes 11. And then what's my last step?
Teachers, please pardon this interruption. Please do an ID check on all your students. If there's a student who needs to get an ID, please send them to Mr. Riley in the cafeteria. Again, teachers, please do a quick ID check among all your classes, and send anyone who needs an ID to the cafeteria. Thank you.
And what's my last step? Divide by 3. Does anybody feel like that's weird? Why? Why were you thinking maybe I did something wrong? Because it's not a whole number, but guess what? That's okay. X is equal to 11 over 3. I don't have a calculator. I'm going to leave it just like that. Okay, do not give me a decimal answer. If you don't have a calculator, there's no way you were getting one. I'm not making you do long division there. So if you get a fraction, and sometimes it happens, no big deal. Fractions need love too. Box your answer. You're good to go. Now, I will tell you that on your homework, and again, you can always check with me so you don't got to stress about it. So far, I've only seen one. I have 2 more problems to do, but I've only seen there is one answer that's a fraction. So don't feel like you get it often, but it happens. The next problem, when I take a look over here on this side, I need to combine like terms. I need to put the 2 and the negative 15 together. And on this side, I've got 2 W's. So I need to combine like terms first on this problem before I can start solving it. So on the left, I need to put together the 2 and the 15. And then on the right, I need to put together the 6 and the negative 2W. So I'm going to have a 4W. And then I have, what would negative 15 plus 2 be? Or 2 minus 15, either way. Nope, we're not getting more negative. Negative 13. And then on the right, I've got 6 and I'm taking 2 away. Very good. All right, now I need to get the fours on the both, or sorry, I need to get the four W's on the same side. Which one is bigger, 4 or 4? When it is exactly the same, they are both positive 4W, they cancel each other out. Because if I brought this 4 over, what's 4 minus 4? 0. So if you have exactly the same thing, they cancel each other out. And this is what we're left with. Negative 13 equals negative 13. Is that true? Yes. So it makes a difference if it's true or false. So if this is true, it means that there are infinitely many solutions. Any number would work. Anything. You could put any number in there and it would work. So we say infinitely many solutions. But that's kind of a lot, right? Who wants to write that out? I don't. So what I'm going to put as an answer anytime that happens is I'm going to use shorthand and I'm going to say IMS, infinitely many solutions. So write that down so you know what I'm talking about. But after today, right now, you don't have to write out infinitely many solutions. You can write IMS, infinitely many solutions. So if we could have infinitely many solutions, when you get to a statement, 4 equals 4, 7 equals 7, negative 13 equals negative 13, that's a true statement. What do you think, what do you think happens if you get a not true statement? 4 equals 12. So when it's true, there's a million plus different answers, infinite amount of answers. What if you get a false statement? How many answers do you think there are? None. Right, none. So if you are working your homework, and you get to a problem that it's similar to this, where the variables disappear and you're left with something equals something, if it is a false statement, then you say no solution. No solution. So if you want to jot that out to the side, if you were to get a false statement, false, then we could say no solution. And that's a lot of words too, but we have a symbol that you could use, and it's a circle with a line through it. That means no solution. So remember that this is separate from the problem we were just doing. So make sure you put that off to the side. Yes. You know if it's true or false because you're going to get to something equals something. 5 equals 5. That's true, right? 5 equals 5. But does 5 equal 4? No, that's false. So that's how you'll know it's false. You get to something that's not true. 0 equals 11. No, it doesn't. That's false. And you would say no solution. Okie dokie. Moving on. Name an activity where your fingers might get tired. Typing. Texting, I would think so, yeah. Yes. Rope climbing. Rope. This is a funny question. Oh my gosh, knitting or playing the piano? I didn't think of that. Name something a flight attendant might throw at a rude passenger on her last day of work. Is that how you spell peanuts? In a horror movie, name a place teenagers go where there's always a killer on the loose. In the woods. Always. Name something that causes a lot of damage or destruction if it overflows. Water. Yeah. Name something that should be in your car when you get pulled over by the police. Insurance, license, all those things. I don't know which one to put. Tell me something that is known as a known blood sucker. A mosquito. I like vampire too. Oh. Oh, that you don't want to have in your car, not that you do. Ah. We were all thinking of things that you do want to have in your car. 1,200. Okay, y'all, I think are gonna get to play twice just because I was getting excited about playing. Oh. I'm out of passage. Just go quickly. It's right across the hall. Well, hold on. Let me give you this. We'll see. Okay, somebody else gave me passage that just doesn't have my name. What's your name? Ethan. There we go. Thank you. You're welcome. All right, the next few problems. Really, before I can do anything, I kind of need to take care of these parentheses. So I'm going to take care of the parentheses first. And to do that, we will distribute. And then we can kind of regroup from there. Okay. So we've got -2. And what's the number in front of the x if there isn't a number? 1. So -2 times 1 is -2. And what's a negative times a negative? Positive. And 2 times 1 is 2. All righty. Now I need to take a look at both sides. All right, no combining like terms there. Here I need to combine like terms. I've got 2x and 4, so I've got to combine them before I can get started. I have to combine like terms first. So I need to put these together. So I've got 4 minus 2. And 4 minus 2 is 2. I've almost lost the x. All right, we've got x's on both sides. So who is bigger? 10. So we're going to move the 2. So we're going to subtract 2x. Yay, I have a 2-step equation. When I have a 2-step equation, 2 easy steps. What do I do first? -3. What's 2 minus 3? -1. All right, my last step is to divide by 8. Does -1 divide by 8? So we're going to leave it. It's okay. X is equal to -1 over 8. I put these on here on purpose because I want you to see that fractions are okay. It doesn't matter. We can sometimes get fractions. Who is really scared by the next problem? Nobody? Okay, one brave soul is telling me that they're afraid of this problem. Like, I think it looks kind of scary because we aren't really good with dealing with fractions yet, but you will get good dealing with fractions in here. So we have to remember that you multiply by the top. The top will multiply. And so I'm going to draw a little fraction off to the side. The top will multiply. And the bottom always divides. So whatever that number is, the number on top we will multiply, the number on bottom we will divide, and you can go in any order. So depending on what you're multiplying, you can go in any order. But before we get started on this problem, we have to get rid of those parentheses. So the first thing that we're going to do, so we're going to do it, most of these we can do in our head. For this one, what's 6 times 2? 12. What's 12 divided by 3? 4. So there's the first number. It becomes 4y. We're going to do the next one. What would 2 times 18 be? 36. What's 36 divided by 3? 12. And there's a negative, so it's going to be negative 12. Looky there, y'all are doing fractions. The next one, I've got plus, so it's positive times a positive. So this is going to be a positive. What's 8 times 3? 24. What's 24 divided by 4? 6. So we've got 6y. The next one, well, it's going to be 32 times 3. That kind of makes it big. And that's going to be off my number chart or my multiplication chart. So I'm going to show you that you could divide first. So what if we did 32 divided by 4? 8. Well, what's 8 times 3? 24. That's your answer. Were you guys taught to multiply by fractions? Do y'all remember this, that you multiply by the top, divide by the bottom? Well, even if you didn't know that or you didn't remember it, then we can just learn it right now. All right, here. Okay. So it looks like I can combine like terms. I've got 2 y's and then 2 constants. So let's combine like terms first. We got to do that before we can get started. We're going to combine like terms. I'm going to put these y terms together. And I'm going to put these constants together. So what would 6 and 4 be? I've got 10y. And then I start with the biggest whole positive number if possible. 24 minus 12. Well, yay, it's a 2-step equation now. 2 steps, and then y will be by itself. What do I do first? Subtract 12. So we're getting more positive when you have a negative and a negative. We're going to get, sorry, we're getting more negative. That's what I meant to say. More negative. So we know it's going to be a negative, and now you could add these values. Let's see. And my last step. Yep. Divide by 10. What's negative 30 divided by 10? Negative 3. Very good. All right, let's have another break. I told y'all are going to get to play twice. Everybody else is just going to get to play once. Quiz 1 is coming up on the 27th. That's next week. Just saying. Name something you'd hate to discover you'd been sitting on.
Okay.
What? Okay, that's a good one. Yeah?
Oh, water.
That's why I'm afraid to wear white pants. Like, I'm always afraid because I've got children that I'm going to accidentally sit in chocolate and it's going to look like I've got poop on me. I'm afraid of white pants, but I think they look good sometimes. I envy people that can be brave enough to wear white pants. Name a good outdoor sport for a couple to do together. Tennis. Maybe it's looking for two-player things. Yeah, two-player games, I'm thinking. Maybe golf? Golf? I don't think that's gonna be. Okay. Running. Things that are like two people things. I don't think baseball. It didn't like basketball. I don't know why it changed it to picket. I wasn't thinking about that. All right, raise your hand if you want to do C. A couple of y'all want to do C. Raise your hand if you don't really want to do C. What about the rest of y'all? Y'all want to do this problem or not do this problem? No. Yeah, if you don't want to do it, raise your hand. Okay, we're not going to do it. I wasn't going to do it no matter what y'all said, but I just wanted y'all to feel good, like y'all got to vote. We're going to skip it. I think when we wrote the notes, we were ambitious about that one, but we're already been doing lots of fractions. So I'm okay with skipping that one. So we're going to flip over onto the back and we're going to do the first one on the back. So this one is a very big TSI type question where it's like an if then type problem almost. It says if 4g plus 5 equals 9, what's the value of 4g minus 2? You can't even do this unless you know what g equals. So the first step is going to be solve for g. That's what we have to do first. Step number 1, solve for g. And then the next thing that we're going to do is plug in. Plug in g equals. So this is going to be our first step. This is going to be our second step. So first step, we've got this problem and we're going to solve for g. I like that problem. Why? Because it has 2 steps. I like 2-step equations. They're easy. So from here, what would be my first step? Yep, we're going to subtract 5. What's 9 minus 5? 4, beautiful. And my very last step. Yep, divide by 4. I couldn't do this without you guys helping. So G is equal to 4. First step, done. I know what G is equal to. Solve for G, check. Now I'm going to plug it in. So second step, I have 4 times 1 minus 2. So now I took that and I went and plugged it in. So that's a big deal. I take that and I go plug it in. What's 4 times 1? 4. What's 4 minus 2? 2. Beautiful. We're almost done with our notes. And then you're going to have homework time. We are almost done. But let's finish our game. We started it. Let's finish. Name something that can be inflated or deflated. Tire. Balloon. What? Ball. What about like your ego? Good job. I was not thinking of that. Tell me something that can have a dead end street. Yep. Name a place where you avoid making eye contact with people. Bathroom. I agree. Name something people give others as a proof of their love. Flowers. Name something that people like better when it's old. Name a place kids like to hide. Or under the bed. Yeah, that's a good one. Y'all were good at this round. Oh, y'all did really good. So y'all got 1706. All right. I'm working on my leaderboard and we'll get it up on the wall. The last 2 problems are just writing an algebraic expression. Hello? I do. All right, thank you. Bye. Leonidas, you are leading. The last 2 problems are word problems. And I used to have these written that you needed to write them and then solve them. I took off the solve part. I mainly just want you to try to write them. If you can't write them right, then solving them is pointless because you get the wrong answer and then you feel like you did everything wrong. On your quiz, the question that I have for you is, it's going to be a multiple choice. So if you really struggle with these, just keep putting something on paper. So your homework is like mainly completion. You've got to try everything. Keep putting something on paper, and hopefully if it was a multiple choice, you could figure it out multiple choice. But for homework and for our notes, we're actually going to write them out ourselves. So the first one, the difference between the product of 4 and a number and 6 is 30. Shake your head yes if you think that sounds a little confusing. Little bit. Okay, well, let's pick out the parts that we know. So we know that difference is what operation? Add, subtract, multiply, and divide. The difference between 2 things. What operation would we use? Let's get a chart off to the side. So since nobody can tell me, you've got a little bit of space right here off to the side on your notes. Let's just jot these down so it'll be easier when we do these problems. So we've got, or you can even write it at the bottom of your paper. We've got add, subtract, multiply, and then divide. And there's words that kind of go along with those. So for plus or add, it could be add. It could be more than. And if you run across another one, then add it to that list. What words go with subtract? Subtract, less than, minus, difference. What kind of words go with multiply? Per, yeah, that's a really good one. Per is always multiply. Yep, very good. What about divide? Obviously divide. Look in your notes and look in your homework for a word that goes with multiply or divide. What? Half? Yeah, that's a good one. It's half. Yeah, there's another one. What other word? And kind of just, and there's one on the notes. What? Difference goes with subtract. Quotient. Yep, good job. Quotient. This is not the only words that go with these. These are just the ones that I can think of off the top of my head. If you think of another one or you run across a problem, then add it to your list. So what I'm going to do is first go through and read these and put any symbols next to stuff that I know. So if it says the difference, I know that that's going to be subtract. Oh, product. Where does that go? Multiply. Very good. That's the answer to a multiply problem. That's the answer to a division. That's the answer to subtraction. What's the answer to when you add two things together? Sum. We forgot that one. Sum. Okay, that's when you add two things together. So the difference between the product, so we're going to have to multiply two things. We're going to be multiplying something. For and a number. Couldn't a number be anything? It could be X, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got 4 and a number. So 4 and a number. So this goes all together. All of that stuff. 4 times X, the product of 4 and a number, and 6. We've got the difference of. So difference means you've got two things that you're finding the difference of. So we've got 4X and 6. So the difference of 4 times a number and 6 is, anytime you see the word is, maybe I should write it the other way. Whenever you see, you can add this to your list. Whenever to make your equal sign, it's almost always is. So almost always where you see is, that's where we'll put the equal sign. Is 30. So is 30. And we're just getting practice writing it out. When you write it out, I encourage you to reread. So the difference, so I need to be subtracting between the product of 4 and a number. So this is the product multiplying 4 and a number, and 6. So the difference between a product of 4 and a number and 6 is 30. So making sure that you wrote it correctly. Again, if you struggle with these, please know that these are going to be multiple choice. The next one, 5 more than. Okay, well, I've got to have something, and then I'm going to add 5 to it. That's what 5 more than. The quotient goes with what? Divide. So that means I'm going to have something over something. The quotient of a number can be X and 4. Okay, so this could be X and 4. And then we've got is 3. Is always an equal sign. All right, so I need to go back. 5 more than. So I have to have something and I'm adding 5 to it. So it's 5 more than this quotient. So I'm going to have to put this quotient over here. So now I'm going to keep going. 5 more than, 5 more than the quotient. So this is a quotient of 4 and a number and 4 is, so I can put an equal sign, is 3. So we're done, and you're going to get started on the homework. As you get to any problems, I want you to come up and ask for help or check on your answers. So we are done for today.